The Galactic Council's emergency lockdown protocols had never been triggered by someone eating a sandwich. Charlotte Brown, human security consultant, sat reviewing camera footage on her datapad while working through her turkey club, completely unaware that 17 ambassadors from 14 species had gone absolutely rigid in their seats. 3 had stopped breathing, 2 were quietly weeping. "Motion to classify humans as Category Omega predators," whispered Senior Counselor Zillax, his voice barely audible, his 4 eyes locked on the table in front of him. "All in favor?" 12 hands rose in perfect synchronization, slowly, carefully, like prey animals trying not to attract attention. According to YouTube analytics, 99.6% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, you'll help support the channel and never miss fresh content. Charlotte glanced up at the movement. Half the room flinched. "Hey, everything okay?" she asked, looking around the chamber. Her eyes moved across the space in smooth, efficient sweeps. "You all look like you've seen a ghost." Ambassador Vexia made a sound like air escaping from a punctured hull. "She's doing it again," hissed Kael'thas, the Vrex representative, his words barely forming. "Stars help us. She's tracking all of us simultaneously." Charlotte blinked, her gaze settling on Kael'thas. He stopped moving entirely, including the involuntary respiratory flutter of his chest membranes. "Doing what?" Charlotte asked, genuinely confused. She looked at Zillax. "Seriously, what's going on? Did I miss something in the briefing?" "Please," Zillax managed, his voice strained. "Please stop looking at us like that." "Like what?" Charlotte set down her sandwich and leaned forward slightly, her attention focusing on the senior counselor. Around the room, chairs creaked as their occupants pressed themselves backward. "I'm just looking at you, because you're talking. That's how conversations work?" "Emergency motion," someone whispered from the back. "Contact xenobiologist Azila immediately." Azila arrived within 6 minutes, which would have been impressive if she hadn't spent 4 of those minutes frozen outside the chamber door, watching through the window as Charlotte Brown's eyes tracked 3 different conversations, 2 passing maintenance workers, and what appeared to be a loose ceiling panel, all while taking notes. "Mother of the first spawn," Azila breathed. The reports were accurate. She entered carefully, moving in what her species called the broken pattern, irregular, unpredictable movements designed to confuse predator targeting systems. Charlotte's eyes followed her anyway, smooth and effortless. "Oh, good, someone else is here," Charlotte said, smiling with visible teeth. Several council members whimpered. "Maybe you can tell me why everyone's acting so weird. I'm just doing the security review you hired me for." "Your eyes," Azila said carefully, still moving in her disruption pattern. Charlotte's gaze stayed locked on her regardless. "You're aware that you're tracking every moving object in this chamber?" "I mean, yeah?" Charlotte looked around again. That same fluid, comprehensive sweep. "That's literally my job. Security consultant. I look for threats." "How many objects are you tracking right now?" Azila asked. Charlotte frowned, considering. "In the room, maybe 40, 45 if you count the ventilation movement. Why?" The silence that followed was profound. "That's impossible," Kael'thas finally said. "The maximum documented tracking capacity for any known species is 7 objects. 7. The Vexians hold the record." "Okay, but I'm definitely watching way more than 7 things," Charlotte said. She pointed without looking. "Ambassador from Theta Proxima is nervous, keeps touching his data tablet. The Vrex delegation has been whispering for 3 minutes. That ceiling panel is loose and needs maintenance. The door behind me opened twice in the last minute, probably shift change for corridor security. Zillax's water glass is almost empty, and someone in the back row is wearing a perfume that's not standard for their species, which is weird." She said all of this while eating a chip, her eyes never stopping their constant, casual scanning. You weren't even looking at those things, Vexia said, her voice hollow. Peripheral vision, Charlotte explained, gesturing vaguely at the sides of her head. Humans have like 180-degree visual range. We don't need to look directly at stuff to see it. Azila pulled up her datapad with trembling hands. I need to show you something. She projected an image, a prey animal on some distant world, frozen mid-step, eyes wide. This is the universal prey freeze response. It's triggered when a predator demonstrates target lock behavior. Okay? You're triggering that response in every species in this room. Charlotte looked around again. This time she seemed to notice what Azila meant. The rigid postures, the careful stillness, the way everyone's eyes pointed away from her. Oh shit, she said. Wait, seriously? You guys are scared of me? Your visual tracking patterns, Azila explained, pulling up more data, match every documented profile for apex predator threat assessment. The way you scan environments, track multiple targets, maintain visual contact while performing other tasks, it's textbook pursuit, predator behavior. But I'm just looking around, Charlotte protested. This is normal. All humans do this. That, Zilax said quietly, is what terrifies us. The emergency session continued with Azila presenting her findings while Charlotte sat very still, trying not to freak everyone out more. It wasn't working. Even motionless, her eyes continued their automatic tracking patterns. Human evolutionary history, Azila lectured, her voice taking on the detached tone of academic panic, is unique in the Galactic catalog. Most predator species evolved as ambush hunters, explosive speed, narrow focus vision, quick strikes. Humans are persistence hunters. We ran stuff to death, Charlotte supplied, helpfully. Several council members made distressed noises. Like, literally, we'd just follow prey until it collapsed from exhaustion, sometimes took days. Yes, Azila confirmed, which required developing unparalleled tracking capabilities. Human eyes can follow a single target across miles of terrain while simultaneously monitoring surroundings for threats, opportunities, and navigation. Your visual cortex processes more simultaneous information than any other known species. And you do this constantly? Asked Jotaro, the xenopsychologist who'd been called in 15 minutes ago and had since been standing in the corner, taking notes with shaking hands. I mean, yeah, Charlotte said. Right now I'm looking at you, but I can see Zilax reaching for his water, Vexia checking her tablet, and… She paused. Okay, guy in the back row, third seat from the left. Why do you keep glancing at the emergency exit? The chamber erupted in chaos. Security descended on the indicated seat, finding a Proximan ambassador with unauthorized weapons and a detailed assassination plot on his personal device. During the entire arrest, Charlotte tracked every security officer, every escape route, and casually mentioned that 2 other individuals were showing suspicious stress patterns. They were co-conspirators. How did you know? Zilax demanded once the chamber was secured. Charlotte shrugged. His body language was wrong. Proximans distribute weight differently when standing normally versus when ready to run. His hands kept drifting to where a weapon would be, and his breathing patterns suggested elevated heart rate despite the room being calm. You observed all of that while eating a sandwich, Jotaro said flatly. And reviewing security footage, Charlotte added, and listening to the council discussion. Humans multitask pretty well. Jotaro pulled up his own datapad. I need to revise my entire dissertation on predator-prey dynamics. Every model is wrong. How so? Azila asked. We assumed predators and prey were distinct categories. We assumed apex predators would be obvious. Size, weapons, aggressive behavior. He gestured at Charlotte. Humans are medium-sized, largely unarmed, and behaviorally friendly. But they have predatory capabilities that exceed anything in our models. They're pursuit predators so successful they never stop hunting, even when the hunt is over. I'm not hunting anyone, Charlotte protested. I'm just aware of my surroundings. That's the same thing, Jotaro said. To a pursuit predator, environmental awareness is hunting. You're constantly assessing every organism in your vicinity for threat level, escape routes, vulnerability patterns. You can't turn it off because it's fundamental to how your brain processes reality. Charlotte opened her mouth to argue, then stopped. Okay, that's actually kind of true. I do automatically categorize people by how dangerous they'd be in a fight. Everyone? Vexia asked quietly. Everyone, Charlotte confirmed. It's not conscious. I just know that Zilax would use his reach advantage, you'd go for weapons, Kael'thas would try to fly. It's automatic. The silence was heavy. Your species, Azila said slowly, makes eye contact as a greeting. Yeah? Every other species interprets sustained eye contact as predatory threat assessment. Looking directly at someone means you're evaluating them as prey. Charlotte's face went through several expressions. Oh no, is that why everyone always seems uncomfortable when I'm being friendly? Yes, chorused half the room. We thought you were establishing dominance, Vexia admitted, reminding us that humans could hunt us if they chose. I was trying to show I was paying attention and cared about what you were saying. To us, Jotaro explained gently, those are the same thing. A predator that pays attention to you is a predator considering you as prey. Charlotte put her head in her hands. This explains so many awkward diplomatic incidents. There's more, Azila continued. Humans prefer being watched. You interpret observation as social engagement rather than threat assessment. Well, yeah, Charlotte said. If someone's looking at me, it means they're interested in the conversation. We interpret it as the predator has selected its target, Kael'thas said. It triggers every prey instinct we have. But you hired me specifically for security, Charlotte pointed out. Yes, Vexia admitted quietly, because you felt dangerous. We thought that was intentional intimidation. It wasn't, Charlotte said. I'm just looking at stuff. That's the problem, Zilax said. You never stop. The council took a recess while Charlotte sat in an adjacent room, trying not to track every passing worker. It was harder than she expected. Her eyes automatically followed movement, assessed body language, tracked patterns. She'd never realized how constant it was. Jotaro joined her, moving in the same irregular pattern Azila had used. Charlotte's eyes followed him anyway. You can't help it, he observed. Apparently not, Charlotte said. This is weird. I never thought of myself as predatory. You're not, Jotaro assured her. Not behaviorally. Humans are highly social, cooperative, empathetic. But your sensory processing is pure apex predator. He sat down carefully. May I ask something personal? Sure. Do you have children? Yeah, a daughter. She's 7. Do you know where she is right now? Charlotte checked her watch. Soccer practice. Field 3 at the community complex. She'll be goalie for the first half because Coach Martinez rotates positions, then probably right forward. And if I asked you to describe the last time you saw her? Charlotte smiled. This morning. She was wearing her blue jersey, the one with the grass stain on the left sleeve she won't let me wash because she says it's lucky. She'd tied her left shoe tighter than her right, which means her ankle was bothering her again. She was excited because she'd figured out a new strategy for blocking penalty kicks. How do you know her ankle was bothering her? The way she was walking, tiny weight distribution shift. Jotaro made a note. You tracked micro-movements in your daughter's gait to assess her physical condition. I guess. I just noticed she was limping a little. No, Jotaro said gently. You observed, processed, and analyzed minute biomechanical variations to identify a developing injury. That's threat assessment processing applied to caretaking. Charlotte stared at him. Are you saying I hunt my own kid? I'm saying your predator tracking systems were repurposed for childcare. Humans are persistence hunters, yes, but also persistence caregivers. You track your offspring with the same intensity you tracked prey because the cognitive systems are identical. That's actually kind of beautiful? It is, Jotaro agreed. But it's also why every parent species finds human childcare terrifying. You watch your children with predatory intensity. We call it eyes in the back of your head, Charlotte laughed. That phrase, Jotaro said seriously, caused a diplomatic incident last year. 3 species requested emergency clarification on whether humans actually had additional sensory organs. Charlotte laughed harder. It's a figure of speech. It just means parents notice everything their kids do. Yes, through constant, unbreakable visual tracking. Jotaro showed her a video, Charlotte at a previous diplomatic function, holding a conversation while her eyes tracked every person in the room. You were maintaining 3 simultaneous conversations, monitoring all exit points, and tracking 2 suspicious individuals, and you looked relaxed. I was relaxed, Charlotte said. That's just normal situational awareness. For a human, Jotaro emphasized, for everyone else, that's threat assessment behavior reserved for active combat situations. The council reconvened with new understanding. Zillax stood, his posture carefully neutral. We owe you an apology, Consultant Brown. For what? For interpreting your species' standard behavior as aggression, for being afraid of you for doing your job. He paused. For not understanding that humans simply observe everything, constantly, as baseline behavior. I mean, yeah, Charlotte said. We're kind of nosy. We like knowing what's going on. You're not nosy, Azila corrected. You're apex predators with perfect environmental awareness, repurposed for social cooperation. That's a much cooler way to put it, Charlotte grinned. More teeth, fewer flinches this time. We're implementing new protocols, Zillax continued. First, all species are advised that human visual tracking is non-threatening standard behavior. Second, freezing when humans look at you is counterproductive. It triggers their motion tracking systems. Wait, it does, Charlotte asked. You noticed I stopped breathing earlier, Kael'thas said. That's freeze response. Oh, yeah, that did catch my attention because it was weird. Exactly. We were triggering the very response we feared by acting like prey. Third, Zillax continued, we're requesting human security consultants for all major diplomatic venues. Your threat detection capabilities are clearly unmatched. Because we track everything without thinking about it, Charlotte said. Yes, what seems like casual observation to you is comprehensive threat assessment to us. The 3 conspirators today had passed through multiple security screenings. You identified them in minutes. They were acting suspicious. No one else noticed, Vexia said, because no one else was watching them specifically while also monitoring 40 other targets. Charlotte absorbed this. So I'm not creepy? You're terrifying, Jotaro said honestly. But in a way, we now understand is simply human baseline. Your species evolved to track wounded prey across days of pursuit. Of course you notice when someone's stress patterns are abnormal. We also, Azila added, need to revise our understanding of human friendliness. You're not socially aggressive. You're socially fearless because you have no natural predators. We absolutely have predators, Charlotte objected. Tigers, bears, sharks. Which you hunt for sport, Kael'thas interrupted. And win. Charlotte paused. Okay, that's fair. Your entire species culture, Jotaro explained, is built on the confidence of apex predators who cooperative hunt. You're friendly because you can afford to be. You're not worried about being prey because you never were. And the staring thing? Is you being polite, Zillax confirmed. We understand that now. Humans show interest through attention. We'll adapt. Charlotte looked around the room, that same comprehensive sweep. This time, fewer people flinched. This is going to take getting used to. For everyone, Azila agreed. The session concluded with new diplomatic guidelines, revised security protocols, and a galaxy-wide memo about human visual tracking behavior. Charlotte packed up her things, checking her messages. Shit, I'm late for Mia's soccer game, she muttered, shouldering her bag. Her team's playing the Riverside Rockets. They've got that girl Sarah who always goes for the same fake-out move. Mia's figured out how to counter it, so this should be good. She headed for the door, still talking. She gets this look right before she's about to steal the ball. Eyes narrow a bit, weight shifts forward. I've been teaching her to watch for tells in other players. Really improves her game. The door closed behind her. Through the window, they could see Charlotte walking down the corridor, her eyes tracking every person, every movement, every detail, her head on a constant slow swivel. She's teaching her offspring to hunt, Vexia said quietly. No, Jotaro corrected. She's teaching her offspring to play a children's game, but yes, the skill set is identical. Zillax watched Charlotte disappear around a corner, still tracking everything in her path. They never stop hunting. They don't think of it as hunting, Azila said. They think of it as paying attention. Is there a difference? Not for humans. The council sat in silence, processing. Someone shifted in their seat. As one, every head turned toward the movement, then froze, realizing what they'd done. Oh, stars, Kael'thas breathed. Now we're doing it. Prey response is contagious, Jotaro noted clinically. We're adapting to the presence of apex predators in our social environment. Will we ever feel comfortable around them? Vexia asked. Probably not, Azila admitted. But we'll understand why we're uncomfortable. That's better. Zillax pulled up the security footage from earlier, Charlotte identifying the assassins through nothing but observation. They saved lives today, multiple lives, by doing what humans do naturally. Watching everything, Kael'thas said. All the time, Vexia added. Without stopping, Jotaro concluded. They sat with that knowledge, that humanity had evolved as such efficient hunters that they never turned off, never stopped tracking, never stopped assessing threats, and had somehow turned that into childcare, friendship, and saving lives through perfect observation. The most terrifying predator, Azila said quietly, is one that doesn't realize it's hunting. Through the window, Charlotte Brown was visible in the distance, looking at her phone, drinking coffee, and tracking 3 passing ships, 4 pedestrians, and a floating service drone, all while texting her daughter good luck for her game. Just another Tuesday for humanity's apex predators. Just another day of perfect, relentless, caring observation.